BlogTalk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Chrism, and I would like to welcome you to this conversation about your Kundalini awakening experience. And I'd like to immediately welcome my co-host, Amelia Santara. Hello, Amelia.
Hello, Chrism. Hello, listeners. Good to be here.
It's good. Indeed it is. It is good to be here. A beautiful rainy day in California. You know, I can see that nature is attempting to lift the drought. We will see. And I understand you're having some pretty wild weather over there yourself, Amelia, in Ireland.
Yes, we are, Chrism. It's happening every day. Lots of rain and very high winds. So it's been pretty amazing here for the last couple of weeks.
Well, excellent, and I'm glad that you're safe and dry and warm, and we're able to do this Blog Talk radio show thanks to you and your husband, John. So many thanks to the both of you.
You're very welcome indeed. Will I begin by speaking a little about the seminars?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Well, to tell you again, listeners, that the two seminars are happening in March. The first one is happening in New York, in the beautiful Westchester County. It's about 35 miles north of New York City. And it is happening on March the 23rd and March the 22nd and March the 23rd. And if you're interested in attending, please contact me on kundalinimatters@gmail.com. There are still two places available for that seminar. The following weekend, there's a seminar in Ireland. Chrism is flying over to Europe, and I'm delighted to be able to welcome people to that seminar in Newgrange. It's the same place where we had the seminar in October, and so I know that it's going to be a wonderful gathering of Kundalini people with Chrism. And Chrism is going to lead us into Newgrange on the Sunday, which is going to be part of our seminar, and I'm really looking forward to doing that again. So March the 29th and March the 30th, if you would like to attend that, or if you would like to have any information about it, please contact me again on kundalinimatters@gmail.com.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's wonderful, wonderful news. Thank you. And to everybody who is listening in the archives, Amelia, do you have a view of the archives? Or not the archives, but the chat room?
Yes, I do, Chrism. We have a good few guests in the chat room. Most of them are numbers, but I do know Fashji is there and Sukha is there, and they're with us every week. So welcome to the two of you, and to the other guests as well, who are numbers, but I think they're probably the same guests that join us every week.
Well, welcome to this conversation, everyone. And I'd like to say thanks to Eileen, Laurel, Glenn Ola, Rosemary Goliath, Amelia Santara, and the many other people that help put this show on the internet and on the computer waves. So thank you very much, everyone. As Amelia mentioned, we'll be going to Ireland for our third, I believe, our third Kundalini Awakening seminar. And this does have a lot to do with the Newgrange Monument. And as Amelia mentioned, we'll be going into the Newgrange Monument as part of the seminar, and I'll be giving explanations about, what can happen in there. People are getting visions as they go into the Newgrange Monument. And so I really would suggest for those of you who are in Europe and who have an interest in this subject and would like to participate, I would encourage you to come to the Irish Awakening Seminar. And you can contact Amelia at kundalinimatters@gmail.com and get yourself on the list for that. The other thing that is occurring is that Amelia and I are putting together an ancient Irish monument tour. And for those of you who are interested in that, you can also email Amelia at kundalinimatters.com BlogTalk.com. And what this tour would consist of would be, of course, Newgrange, which is part of the seminar, but also the hill of Tara, and there's a passage temple called Four Knocks, and we also have another passage temple that I have been to and Amelia has been to before that are on the YouTube videos, and this is the Hill of the Witch, and going there in addition to perhaps some other of the monument areas in need, which is fairly close. They're fairly centralized in that one county. There's a lot of monuments there, but of course in Ireland there's such a huge amount of sacred sites in Ireland, and I see it as no accident that the Kundalini in me wants to be giving this information in the country of Ireland. So I invite everybody to come over. Now, with regards to ancient megalithic sites, the Kundalini is older than any of them. The Kundalini has been in the tailbones and the first chakra areas of humans for a very, very long time. And, this enlightenment process has conceived civilizations, seen them when they were young and as they reach the height of their expression, and then seen them fall. And one need only mention the Sanskriti civilization that was the forerunner to the modern Hindu society. These people knew about the Kundalini. They wrote about it in the Rig Veda. I mean, anybody with Kundalini awakened in them, when they look at the Rig Veda or even just hold the book, you can begin to receive the information that the rishis, which were the people of the Sanskriti nation, the rishis put together in the oral history that the Rig Veda started out to be. It was at first an oral history, and it is now considered one of the oldest books in the world. So with that in mind, as you go into these sacred sites in Ireland, we're talking a country that has had a mystical tradition that goes back 8,000 years. This reminds me a lot of Sardinia and the Nuragi people, and they went back into the far distant past as well. And once again, they were able to move the large stones, and they were able to build these tremendous structures without electricity, and in some cases without even the wheel. So it gives you a little bit of a pause to think, well, what did these ancients know that we here in the modern world, as we are so addicted to our technology, that we don't know? What did they know that we don't know? And one of those aspects of the knowledge that they had was the Kundalini. When you're on a natural diurnal schedule, meaning you wake up with the sunrise and you go to sleep with the sunset, your bio patterns experience somewhat of a reset. Even they I guess somebody had way too much money and they didn't know how to spend it, so they did a study that allowed them to understand that if a person goes camping for a week, their biological clock is reset. So there you go. That's probably cost a few $1 million to figure that one out. But it's true. It is true. And when you go out there and you're in these areas of Ireland where the megaliths stand, or even, Amelia Centaur's front yard where she has a standing stone, you can feel the intentional positioning of these sacred stones, these huge sacred stones. And as you gravitate and graduate from, say, the standing stones, then you can go into the areas of the standing stone circles. And then you can go into the areas of, like, as we've mentioned before, the temples that are dotted all over Ireland. But what we're looking at with regards to a Kundalini context really are the extremely ancient ones. A lot of it is to feel, when you go into them, you can feel a level of energy, a level of Kundalini, a level of a desire to communicate beyond the lifespan of the typical human at that time, which I don't even know what it was. I don't think anybody can guesstimate on how long people were living when the Tuatha De Danann were controlling the Irish island. Once again, we're talking 8,000 or 9,000 years ago. Long, long time before the British domination of Ireland, or any of the many swarms of peoples that have come onto the Irish island and tried to dominate its people, which never has really worked well for any of them, including the Irish people. But as we go to these sacred sites, like the Hill of the Witch, you will see certain messages carved into the stone. The winged Saka, which energy and movement, or at least in this context, energy that is flying. A winged anything with a wing indicates something that is taking flight. And so you'll see that. You'll also go in and see what very, very, very few people on this earth have been blessed. Excuse me a moment. Oh, my gosh. So I'll probably get another sneeze in there. So please excuse me. So, yeah, as we go into these passage temples, you'll see the artwork on the wall. You will see the huge stones somehow put into an intricate pattern that is so stable that it has lasted, the 8,000 years since it was built. We'll be going to these on this Kundalini tour, and I would welcome anybody who has that interest to contact us for the next date that will be taking place. And poor Amelia, I just kind of popped this on her. She's probably spinning in her chair right now going, what? So kudos to you.
No, I'm not. I'm kind of used to it.
So yeah,
no, it's an honor. It would be an honor. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's wonderful and very exciting, and I'm really looking forward to it. I love the way that, when we go to these places, Chrism, I love the way that you know about these things, and it has been a real joy to visit these areas with you. And anybody who comes will experience that too, because you begin to see, you feel within yourself the connection with the Kundalini, and things begin to occur. And with Chrism there, it opens up a new viewing and a new understanding of being in these places. And they are sacred places. And a lot of the things that are written about these places, like Newgrange, like they will say Newgrange is a passage tomb. And it is, of course, it's a passage tomb. But really, as Chrism says, it's an ancient temple. There was a lot of things went on there, ancient ceremonies and, all of these things. And you begin to feel this when you're in those sacred areas. And being there with Chrism is a real privilege. So anybody who's interested, do contact me at kundalinimatters@gmail.com. And I would be delighted to talk with you about that aspect of the Kundalini tour, shall we call it?
Yeah, well, it's as good a name as any. So yeah, and with these passage, what they call them a tomb because they don't know, and the Western society is so anti-divinity. It has to be something that they can grasp and understand. The scientists, the Oxford scholars, and if it doesn't have something to grab onto, well, they'll create something to grab onto. And so, because they couldn't really understand it as a passage temple, well, it became a passage tomb because they did find some human bones in them, but the original design was not as a tomb. It was a a sign of the equinox, a solstice indicator, and other very, very sacred sites. And it is the forerunner of the cross. And there's Egyptian influence in Ireland. One of the queens of the Tuatha De Danann was an Egyptian princess, the daughter of Pharaoh, and the daughter of Pharaoh married one of the kings of the Tuatha De Danann. And the Tuatha De Danann are the people of the goddess Danu. And these people ruled Ireland for some few thousand years. So they left a very, very indelible footprint upon the island of Ireland, and even to this day, they are still referred to as the people of the hills, or the people that went into the hills, or the people that are called the She, or as in the English language you would call them. They would be similar, I guess, to the elves that you would see in the Tolkien movies. Okay, these are not little tiny miniature folks with wings flying around, although there are those as well. But we're talking, creatures that are bigger than us, much taller than us, and extremely smart. They're not stupid, and they're still there. They just go interdimensional, which is a fairly common thing on this world. The whole idea of going interdimensional, and we can talk about that more at another time. And so with these megalithic tours, we go we'll go to a circle of stones, and there's one that Amelia and I have in mind that is just patently and walk up. You could touch the stones. You can feel the energy radiating out of the stones. The energy of in that area, and it's a very, very, very strong vibration, and it does really tie in a lot with the earth energy, and the earth energy becoming the Shakti energy, and this Shakti energy becoming the Kundalini energy. So when we take these tours, it is kind of like a traveling seminar in a very real way. And so I would like to once again invite anybody who would like to be a part of this type of a tour. I have done this a few times now, and Amelia is correct. When I arrive at a place, I immediately get downloaded a lot of information about that place, and it is what it is. You'll have to feel the place yourself to be able to resonate with what I'm saying about it. But there's some pretty wild experiences for people to have everywhere, in southern Ireland to the Crazy Man's Well, which is a water where they would send crazy people to drink at that well because it would help them. And then, of course, the scientists come in and take a water sample, and here they find components in the water that even modern day medicine has just started to use in medicines for mental imbalance. And this happened naturally, sort of, because in Ireland, springs just burst out of the ground and form lakes and form rivers and this flow into the ocean. This was a fairly common event in ancient Ireland, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's still occurring every now and again. Have you heard of it occurring like that, Amelia?
Not so dramatically now, Chrism, no, but there are a lot of stories about it occurring in times gone by. But no, I can't recall anything in modern times.
Well, there's something called the Annals of the Four Masters for anybody who's interested in extremely ancient Irish history. Once again, these are oral histories, and as you read through the annals of the Four Masters, you begin to get an idea of ancient Ireland that most people have no clue about. Ireland is exceptionally rich in sacred sites, everything from medieval Christian to the type of tour that we're doing with the ancient sites that are, 8 or more thousand years old. And so this is something that will really begin to stir the Kundalini. For some reason, I think they were using the Kundalini to build these monuments. And so when you go there, your Kundalini recognizes the signature of itself on those rocks. And as I've said before, the Kundalini knows itself. And so as you come to a place like, say, Newgrange or the Hill of Tara or the Witch Mountain or any of those places, you will feel within your Kundalini the information of the place, the history of the place. You'll get that download. I am not so unique, with regards to the Kundalini. I am just me with it. But we are all unique with the Kundalini, and we all are able to reach into it by our surrender to it and receive the gifts of information that comes to us through that surrender, which is something that I really am going to also discuss today, is surrender. And I know I've discussed it before, but it bears repetition simply because it is not the easiest thing to do. But as you go into these temples, these blessed areas, your Kundalini will respond. And the Kundalini in the place will also respond to you. And as happened the last 2 times, we've gone into the Newgrange Monument. So I wanted to put that out there. So if anybody is interested in ancient Kundalini tours in Ireland, give Amelia an email at kundalinimatters@gmail.com. Now let's talk a little bit about surrender. As some of you know, I am blessed with the presence of Rosemary Goliath, who is an ex Marionite nun or Maronite nun. Maronite, what is it?
Neither. Sorry, American. It's an American community.
What is it called?
It's just a sisters community in the Roman Church.
A sisters community in the Roman Catholic Church. And, she comes out here to California, and I've been working with her over Skype for a while now. And I'm going to let her, in her own words, talk with you about what her challenges have been in surrendering to the Kundalini. So here comes Rosemary.
Thank you, Chrism. The biggest surrender, what we were saying about the surrender is the ego is the part, and I've worked really hard to create a life that is, by appearance, a good life and easily no, it wasn't easily managed always, but within those standards, and then to come and realize how much that ego power is just not it. And it is very reluctant to give that up. And there have been ongoing times here, like up and down and like waves, and where I can feel the bottom of that wave being really where I can surrender to Chrism as my teacher. And am not second-guessing or not objecting to what he asks or finding something else I'd rather do. So I'm pleased about those moments, at least, and that's carrying me through. And I want to say his patience, bless the man. Here I'm extremely grateful for his patience with that and encouragement.
Well, I don't know how patient I am, but I appreciate those kind words, Rosemary, and yes, I will be paying you those $20 right after the show. Thank you. So surrender doesn't come easy. As Rosemary mentioned, we spend our entire lives working through our egos in order to survive in this world, this predatory world. And along comes the Kundalini, and now you're being asked to surrender the control of your life to some energy that has kind of taken you over from within. It is telling you not to eat meat, and then 2 weeks later it's telling you to eat meat. It can get really confusing. Surrender is really one of the first areas that a person needs to get into with this. If you are unable to surrender, then you're basically extending an invitation to Kundalini syndrome, which is what typically will drive people into a psychiatric treatment facility. Rosemary has a unique background as a Catholic nun for 25 years, and she learned, I think, in a very real environment about what it is to surrender to God, surrender to Christ, surrender to the sister that's snoring in bed next to your room, or how you are being tolerant and how you are following the rules. They got a lot of rules around silence and rules around cleaning up the convent. I mean, imagine 25 girls living together. It's going to get a little messy. So they have these very strict rules in place, and so for 25 years, from 16 to 25 years later, she is in this school, and most of us coming into the Kundalini will not have the benefit of Rosemary's type of experience. Now, we can have the benefit of the military. The military can also teach you how to be very, very disciplined, and certain other protocols. It doesn't have to be a Catholic religion. It can be a Muslim religion. It can be a Hindi religion. It can be, any of the religions will give you a mystical aspect of themselves that will allow a person, for the most part, to develop strong levels of discipline. Even the shamanic communities have this within them. And so it doesn't, we're certainly not saying, just by virtue of Rosemary being a Catholic nun, that, you must be a Catholic nun in order to receive the Kundalini well. No, of course not. But you do need to have a level of discipline that you can either develop or you can follow as you do the surrender, because you will get messages from the Kundalini in your dream life, but also in your waking life. Commands to do such and such a thing. Forgive that person. Let that person in, or place your hand on that button because so and so is going to touch it later and they could use that healing. These types of command structures come through the Kundalini to you once you've surrendered to it. Now, I work with people every day. Every single day I work with people, and one of the main levels of conversation is to surrender. Now, Rosemary said surrender to her teacher. Well, I can understand that. You take a look at me and you take a look at my pickup, and you kind of go, wow, God, this guy is just living on the edge of society here. He's the last person I want to surrender to. I might give him a couple of bucks and send him on over to the food kitchen. I don't know about surrendering to him. It's not so much surrendering to me. Yes, I will be giving people instructions and things of that nature, but it's about surrendering to the Kundalini. Surrendering to the Kundalini in the teacher, being the teacher and helping the teacher be a teacher of the Kundalini, but it's also a surrender to the Kundalini in you, in yourself. That's not the easiest thing. We grow up, never say die, never surrender, never give in, never give up. Except now with the Kundalini, I am saying just the opposite. I am saying give it up to the Kundalini. Give it up to the divine. Surrender yourself completely. Surrender the control of your life. Be willing to go that far. It's going to make, Kundalini is interested in you abandoning your children or abandoning your job or abandoning your spouse. But, if the spouse or the job gets in the way, those can come onto the chopping block, but usually it's just a change up for a better situation. But with children, no, you don't get to abandon your kids. So even though you surrender completely to the Kundalini, you must also to the understanding that you're not being asked to abandon your family, especially if you have a supportive spouse. When you have a supportive spouse, you have a family unit that is working with the Kundalini. That is extremely important to the whole Kundalini equation. I have seen it too many times. I can see Kundalini traveling in families. Kundalini will follow family genetic lines. Okay? You know, have you seen Amelia? I think Amelia must have gone to the bathroom. So we'll save that question for her later on. For any of you who do have a question about this, though, please feel free to call 347-934-0026. And if Eileen or Fashji is there, if you could call in just to let me know I'm actually being heard. Sometimes BlogTalk doesn't really give you any clue. You know, you think I'm sitting here in the studio and I have all these little buttons and things around me. Well, I don't. They leave you somewhat blind here. And so, yeah, if you could give a call in just to let me know that people are there. I'm not even sure Amelia's hearing me at this point. But I shall continue. So one of the things that
I'm
will
hearing
help
you, Chrism.
Thank you, Amelia. Did you hear my question to you?
There's somebody online now. I'll just put them through. It's probably Fashji or Eileen.
It looks like Eileen.
Okay, you're through now.
Hi. This is Eileen. Hold on. Turn the computer off. No, you're coming through. You're on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sweet Eileen. Thank you very much. Okay. Well,
You're welcome.
Thanks again, my dear.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye, my dear. Bye-bye.
And now we have somebody else. Hello, caller.
Fashji.
Hey, Fashji, how are you?
Fine, Master C. How are you?
Oh, no, there's not a lot of fineness in that fine.
Well, we already talked about what I'm dealing with.
That's true.
But yes, I was just calling in to say that you were coming in. I invariably had problems with the browser there. One of the plugins dropped off, and I think that was around the same time that Amelia might have been away. Seems to be your energy that creates these things.
It was Amelia's fault.
Let's blame it on Amelia. Okay, I'm going to get out of the way here because I'm enjoying this subject of how the Kunalini can be supported within the family, and if you have, yeah. So I wanted to hear more about that, but I was searching, and I think my wife is somewhat supportive because she sometimes listens to the conversation. So if that's any indication, and I suspect that she is. So
well, I tip my hat to your wife. Yes.
Me too.
It's so important to have a supportive spouse and a supportive family. I mean, the opposite is what typically occurs, unfortunately, and that is when one spouse feels like they're forced to commit their dear beloved husband or wife to a psychiatric detention center.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Be advised.
I'm sure she's thought about it. At any rate, I'll get out of the way here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling.
Yes, you're coming through quite clearly.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's take the cue from Fashji, and we'll we'll discuss more about this. I have seen genetic traits of Kundalini activity flow from the parent to the child. Not all kids get it, but I think a lot of them do, and within the parameters of what that child is able to have and to hold within the family environment that they find themselves in, will determine how, or if ever, that Kundalini potential is going to be accessed by the person as they're a child, or by later on as an adult, like when they turn either 21 or 30 or 27, around those ages. This can really, really, really be a factor. And those of you that have the Kundalini and you have children, start looking at your kids. And if you see that your kids, don't program them to, when you're asking questions, don't program them to say, hey, are you seeing floating lights? Or, or do you, is there a boogeyman under your bed? Because invariably they will say yes. They will want to please you. So do your best to really to be neutral about it when you ask the question, so that you can reach a level of truth from the child without having to want to please you all the time. Now, the other aspect is, when you start, when a person starts having kriyas in front of another spouse, if that spouse doesn't know what a kriya is, it's going to scare the heck out of them. And they will call 911, thinking that you're having some sort of a seizure or a heart attack or whatever. And so do your best. Those of you that are able to talk to your spouse about it, and I know that's not all of you, but for those of you who are able to talk with your spouse about the Kundalini, educate them about kriyas. Educate them about entities. Do your best. Pick your words very carefully. Pick your words very, very carefully. Try not to scare anybody. Don't use this as a way to bolster your ego about how different and great you might feel. Use it as an opportunity to educate your spouse, so that as the symptoms grow stronger.
Hi. Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Chrism. Sorry. We have Jake here to say hello.
Is this Chrism?
Hi, Jake. How are you?
Good. You guys are coming in loud and clear. I have nothing to add, except my wife has been trying to commit me for non-Kundalini issues for years.
It's good to hear you, Jake.
And there's no jail big enough to hold me. But I wanted to say hi to you guys, and it's great, and I'll see you soon. You're coming to stay, right?
Yes. We'll be coming
great.
and visiting you.
Oh,
yeah.
Great. Oh, good. Keep up the here. And then I'll get you back to the show. It's great show.
Thank you, Jake.
Hi, Jake. We're looking forward to meeting you at the seminar in New York. So see you in a month.
Amelia. It's me, Eleanor.
Hi, Elsie.
Hello, Eleanor.
Yeah, hi. I just want to say hello to you, and that I'm looking forward to see you both here and enjoy our time together in your seminar. And what he was saying, it's not true, because I am ready myself. By the way, 2 days ago tonight, I had a snake. I had a dream, in my dream, snake. That's what he explained to me. This is Kundalini.
Well,
okay, I know that you are doing now very important stuff. Good night.
I'll say goodbye and I'll listen. That's all I can do is listen. Everybody has me whipped into shape. All I do is listen anymore. I'm in complete surrender. If a frog goes by, I surrender. So you guys take it from there. Love you. Talk to you soon.
Love you, Jake.
Love you, Jake. Jake and Ellen.
Bye, Jake. I'm so looking forward to meeting them in New York again.
Amelia and I met for the first time in person at John of God's in Brazil, and that was the first time that we met Jake and Ellie, and so we are old friends, and so it was nice to hear his voice, and I would like to say to Jake and Ellie, congratulations with regard to you. Let's put our prayers out that they can find the best solution for that beautiful country, and that they have self-rule and self-government, that it makes it safe for all the citizens of Ukraine. And so as we continue our conversation about the surrender, you're going to get some really odd lessons that the Kundalini will want you to learn. And these can affect the level of communication you have with your spouse, with your children, with your boss, with your friends, with perfect strangers. And I just want you, as I've said in other programs, I just want you to surrender into it. Even though it's strange, scary, make sure that the lines of communication between you and your spouse are wide open. If your spouse is definitely not willing to hear this, not willing to listen, not willing to learn, not willing to go anywhere with this, that, you know, in the short term, that shouldn't be too big of a problem. In the long term, it will definitely blossom into an issue. You have no choice with the Kundalini. You have no choice with that. Once Kundalini comes, once it's up, it's up. And chemical treatments will leave you in a state of that will allow you to appreciate the life the way you've come to appreciate life. It can get much fuzzier and much more out of focus. Some of you may remember Thorazine and seeing people do the Thorazine shuffle. Well, I worked in hospitals, psychiatric hospitals in my earlier days, and that's a real thing. Drool coming out the side of your mouth, and your eyes are kind of wide open and vacant. And this is what can happen to a person who has the Kundalini and is put into a psych ward by their spouse through lack of information or fear. And this is why I'm trying to get this information across to you in as simple and clear a way as you possibly can. You will need to surrender to the Kundalini for the benefit of your life. This is an enlightenment equation, and it's not an equation that is easily broken. And it is an equation that lasts for the life of the individual that is having this. And so it's not going away. You can try to step on it as much as you can. And I have to say, early in my process, I tried to step on it in every way I could. And I was using legal substances and illegal substances. All I wanted was for it to stop and go away, because it can feel like you're possessed. If you don't know what's going on, because it is such a powerful force, you can literally feel like you've wound up in some, grade A horror film, and here you are, the star. And so really, really embrace educating yourself and educating your spouse. And I'm going to invite you to go to Kundalini Awakening Systems, .com. Go to the fifth selection on the left, and you'll see that it's marked the safeties. Print out those safeties. Put them somewhere. Put them on your coffee table. Put them next to the bedside. Put them in the car. Put them in the bathroom, wherever you do most of your reading. Okay? And share it with your spouse if they can have it. If the spouse can't have it, share the information with yourself. Share it with yourself. Make sure that you know what's going on with you. And you and your Kundalini will have a little private chit-chat with regards to what will be appropriate or inappropriate types of phenomena to have occur with you in front of your spouse. And then it turns into somewhat of a waiting game as the Kundalini begins to work on your spouse. And let's talk to Amelia Sintar a little bit about this. Amelia, are you there? Are you present and accounted for next to your computer?
Yes, Chrism, I am. This minute, actually, Bruno has sent you a message. It says, "Here I am. Hello to everyone. Hello, Chrism and Amelia. It's nice to hear you again."
Oh, well, who is that?
Bruno.
Oh, Bruno. Well, blessings and love to you, Bruno. And don't worry about your hair. Your hair looks fine. Your hair looks good. Just the fact that you have it right there where I don't, it makes it look really good. So, have you noticed any of your Kundalini rubbing off on your spouse, Amelia?
Oh, indeed, I have, Chrism. I mean, the journey with me and John with regard to Kundalini has been a wonderful unfolding. To begin with, I wouldn't have shared much with him, but when I discovered your website and your teachings, that was really the beginning of our communication, because he was able to also read information that explained some of my, in inverted commas, weirdness. So that was helpful, That allowed him to see what was happening for me in a different way. It affirmed for him that, I was kind of normal enough in a Kundalini context. So that was a real helpful thing for us together as a couple. So that was wonderful. So thank you for that as well. So, yes, so as we began to go through, I mean, my Kundalini is part of John's life as well. And it communicates to John. John has had experiences, real experiences of Kriyas. He has had experiences of things that Kundalini has communicated to me, which I have told John, and he has seen those things unfold. So he is very, very aware of Kundalini being a real live presence in our life as a family. And because I'm surrendered to Kundalini, totally surrendered in intention. I fail often, but my intention is to be totally surrendered to Kundalini, and that is what the aim of my life is. And so that is, of course, completely integrated now into our family. And our everyday living and some of the very big decisions that we've taken. So,
how is
does that answer your question?
How is it integrated into your family?
Oh, my gosh, in so many ways. Well, where do I begin? Let me begin by even talking about my practice. I have a practice that I do, the 5 Tibetans, for example. My son is also doing the 5 Tibetans now. My husband does the 5 Tibetans.
How old is your son who is doing the 5 Tibetans?
He's 14.
He's 14. And how did his interest become sparked? No pun intended.
Oh my gosh, it's very difficult for me to pull up one particular thing, because I wouldn't have spoken about Kundalini. I'm searching my memory files. I wouldn't have spoken about Kundalini to anybody but my husband for a long time. And then I would have just begun to allow things to be seen, such as my practice, such as even my communication with you, that you were my teacher. I'm doing my practice, things like that. Then there were a couple of actual incidences that Kundalini gave for Jonathan to witness, small things, but big things. For example, we were sitting in a waiting room one day in the hospital. He had injured his arm, and we were waiting to be x-rayed. And he was really, really bored. And suddenly I felt Kundalini. And Jonathan said, oh, for goodness sake, how long more are we going to be here? And I said, by the time we count to, I can't remember what the number was, let's say 29, they're going to come out and say, Jonathan. And he said, yeah, right. And we went 29, 28. And when we got to 0, the nurse walked out at that particular moment and said, Jonathan O'Connor. And I told him that I had been given from Kundalini to tell him that, so that he would become aware. It sounds so trivial, and it's not a parlor game, but it was a real communication to my son to pay attention to the fact that Kundalini was real. And there was a couple of other things like that occurred. There was another very big dramatic thing that occurred that I won't bother going into. That again was another indication to my son that Kundalini was real, because he's cynical, you know, and he needed some concrete things to give him an indication that what was happening with Mom was actually not airy-fairy. There was a lot of stuff to it, you know.
Have any of your other children, have your other kids also had any kind of phenomena come to them?
Yes, they have. My older daughter has had a lot of phenomena, but at the moment it has become quiet again, because that's the way it's being for her. But yes, she has, and my other daughter also has, but she's kind of in denial. But it's been very gentle with her, but I can see it, and I see other indications as well, looking. But I mean, yeah. So there, yes, indeed. And my husband has had kriyas, real physical Kundalini kriyas as well, and experienced those. So it's connected to all of my children, actually, in different ways, you know.
Well, thank you, and you know, and it's so true. I mean, this will follow, especially if the parent is practicing in front of the children. You know, doing the 5 Tibetans, doing the meditation and the pranayama that you do after the 5 Tibetans, doing the stillness meditation, even for some of the more advanced students, doing the Tritakas and the Sri Yantra practices. You know, the child will see that and feel that is a way that is calling to them, simply because the parent is doing it. You know, there doesn't have to be a Kundalini involvement for the child want to emulate the parent, but as the child does emulate the parent, the Kundalini can jump pretty successfully from the parent to the child, and you know, especially living in the same house and you know, sharing energy in such a way as we do within the family unit. So yeah, thank you.
That's right.
Thank you for that. Go ahead.
And also there would have been some healing experiences that my son would have had as well with the Kundalini.
Well, go ahead and describe some of those. Just describe some of those.
Okay, well, one of them would have been a burn that he got, a fairly severe burn from the cooker. And immediately I went and put my hand by the burn and very silently said nothing. And he felt this tingling, and he felt the energy go into his hand, and all the pain vanished, and he didn't get any blisters, and there was nothing happened to his hand. And that was another example. And recently he had pulled something in his back, and again, healing from the Kundalini was given to him, and he felt that in a very, very tactile way. And these things have a great effect upon him, you know. And my husband has seen this as well. And Kundalini chooses, you know, every time he just bangs his knee, he doesn't get a healing or anything. It's just Kundalini comes sometimes, and this is given very strongly to my son in particular, because my other children don't live at home. He's living with us all the time. And he also has dreams and things that, you know, he's beginning to talk about now more than he used to. So, and they've been interesting. And he had a few years ago as well some strange phenomena himself, and some nightmares and things like that. And because of my own experience, I was very aware not to project anything onto him, but I was able to hold those nightmares, let's call them, or those good dreams and some of the more difficult ones in a different way for him, we'll say, than was done for me when I was younger. And that was again through the Kundalini, really, and through what I have learned and through my own experience. So that's very beneficial for the next generation coming along.
Oh, yeah. And
I'll be quiet now.
Thank you for talking about that. I know it's not something that you're able to hear a lot. I mean, I only out of the 290 videos that I have out there, I only have 2 where there's a parent discussing what it's like to see their child go into the Kundalini awakening, and the many different concerns that a parent can have when they see their child, say, having a kriya or having emotional kriyas or things of that nature. So thank you, Amelia, for talking about this with us.
Well, could I say one more thing on that, actually, Chris?
Sure.
For me, it's going to be a little bit different because if I'm remembering correctly, let's say for that parent, they didn't themselves have an experience of the Kundalini, whereas I am in no way fearful for my son. And he is coming into it with knowledge and information and in the context of the safeties, which, we are also talking about in our family. And these are part of how we live our lives. So I have no fear for him. So begins the kriyas, and assuming that he does, I mean, if that's what occurs for him, well then there's no fear from me. It's something that I would wish for everybody. Yeah, I would wish that for everybody in the context of information and the safeties and all of that. So there is no fear, and that's a wonderful thing as well. For him, I feel, as the next as you were talking about the genetic or the DNA or that connection from one generation to the next. That's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it especially with information. Oh, I'm hearing an echo here. Is that you, Amelia? Am I hearing your echo?
Are you hearing it?
Yes. It's okay.
Okay.
It's all right.
I go blue, so I'll be quiet.
No, it's just blog talk here. I mean, we don't have the full on big fancy radio studio, 38 channel, soundboard and all that. We have an iPad.
And I have my kitchen. I'm at my kitchen table, and you're in your ashram on your chair, perhaps.
Yes, I'm in my chair.
So, yeah. So it's not a fancy. It probably sounds, ringing the studio. It's not an elaborate thing at all. But isn't technology wonderful that we can do this? That you are in California, I'm in Ireland, and the listeners here. Let me see that I can see.
They're all over the
Julie
world.
is there. She's in Carolina. There's people everywhere. Tim is from the UK. There's people everywhere, and we can gather and share. This space, the satsang with you. It's wonderful.
Hi, Tim and Julie, Bruno, Fashji, Eileen, and anybody else that I can't see that you're there. But hello, everyone listening live. Thank you for joining us. It's very, very nice to have you with us. So I'm going to shift it a little bit now. I just got a big download, so to speak. This is a little touchy. It's not one that I talk about too much. Weather can be manipulated by the Kundalini. And I mean snowstorms, rainstorms, sunshine. Weather, it's just happens. It happens for me. And so, I come to Ireland a few times now, and it's rainy, but when I come there, the sun comes out, and it really kind of disturbs me because I like the rain. But the sun comes out, or just last month, before we got any of these rains, I knew that the rain was going to come. I just knew it. I felt it. It was almost like the Kundalini will call it just to prove a point to the person that's having the Kundalini. And the point is, there's very little that the Kundalini cannot do. It can do almost anything that it wants to do through the individual. The more you surrender to the Kundalini, the more you're willing to accept its agenda with you, with your enlightenment equation, the greater the sacred skill will come to you. Weather control is just one aspect of it. And it is not the individual corporeal person that is doing the weather control. It is the Kunalini through the individual corporeal person that is initiating the weather response. You know, and these days I walk outside, I walk in the rain, and I feel the intelligence behind it. I feel the levels of radiance that can call it. And I want you to know that the more people that become activated with the Kundalini, and I mean in a real sense, not pretend, purchase a Kundalini mastership for $30, by going to some weekend outfit. No. I mean the real deal, where you're going through the kriyas, you're going through the process, you're having to make an emotional evolution within your body by yourself. Really, most of us, actually all of us, are going to walk the Kundalini path alone. Yes, we can have friends that are walking it as well. We can have a spouse that's walking it, but nobody has our karma. Our spouse does not share our karma. It shares some, but not all of it. Okay, so we all walk the Kundalini alone, and the Kundalini walks us alone. Okay, but you can share, and you can have community, and you can discuss, and sometimes we have shared phenomena, and so it's very beneficial to discuss these types of things. But with weather modification or manipulation, it is a real thing. And I was told this, God, I can't tell you how many decades ago. This is a real deal. The more people have Kundalini in this world, in this society, the Western society of Europe and China and India and South America, Canada, North America, Australia, Indonesia, Asia, the better this planet will be, the cleaner this planet is going to be, the healthier this planet and all life forms on this planet are going to be. So now I shifted into weather modification simply because I see that our governments and our militaries are doing it by using different cloud seeding devices, such as I won't go into the chemicals, but they're using different chemicals that will try to either bring rain to an area or bring a drought to an area, basically trying to weaponize the weather. And so we may see more of this as time goes by. But with the Kundalini, because the emphasis is on life and the diversity of life, I would highly recommend those who are being called into the Kundalini to take that call, accept that call, change yourself and change this world. There are many, there are things that can be done beyond weather manipulation. I mean, I mentioned earlier going into dimensions. The dimensional folds are fairly easy to do. The dimensional folds like the Tuaha De Danann took, that's not out of reach for Kundalini people. Neither is astral travel. This whole Akashic record thing, this is kind of... You get this from a lot of channelers. Oh, Amelia, yes. Yeah, oh, Amelia, my God, you did that? It's like anybody is going to give access to private, personal Akashic records to some channeler that's charging $20 a head. This is silly. So I would highly recommend that people begin to discern through some of the New Age fantasies that are out there. And one of those fantasies is the Akashic records. Another fantasy are these lords of divine rays, Saint Germain and whatnot. I won't get into that. But there's plenty of fantasies to go around, and do your best. I mean, and here I am talking about weather manipulation. I mean, those New Agers can turn right around, to me and go, oh, yeah, Mr. No Akashic Records, but, weather modifications just fine. All I can tell you is what I'm being given to give to you. And yes, there are certain levels of contradiction that are there. Suffice to say that, yes, as you surrender to the Kundalini and as you surrender deeply to the Kundalini, your life begins to change in very mysterious ways that do not follow physics, that do not follow the acceptance of science. Scientific methods and scientific results do not always matter to the Kundalini at all. It only matters to the people who follow that system. Okay, so just an FYI about the Akashic Records and some of the extreme phenomena of the Kundalini. I better give the number out if you'd like to ask a question about any of these subjects or your own personal Kundalini awakening experience. Please call United States area code 347-934-0026. If you're calling from outside the United States, you would just put a 01 in front of that, and then 347-934-0026. I believe that's how it's done.
Julie has made a comment. Chrism. Julie says, there was 1 year that her and her husband purchased a rain stick for Julie for her birthday. And a few of her friends and herself took note of the many times that she shook the stick, and it would end up raining later that day or the next day.
Oh, I see.
Hello?
Okay. Yeah, we have somebody screaming outside the door here. She's walking barefoot in the rain here. She doesn't look too happy. Just want to make sure she's okay here. Just a second.
Okay.
Uno momento, por favor. Just a second. One moment.
Okay. I think Chrism has actually left the building. I'll give you the address again then if anybody has any interest in attending the seminars. There's still a place left in New York, if anybody is interested in that, and there are a few places in Ireland. And again, if you're interested in that Kundalini tour that's going to be happening after the seminar, you can contact me about that as well. It's kundalinimatters@gmail.com. kundalinimatters@gmail.com. So
yeah, so she's having a bit of a problem, but it's not our problem. She's just upset at a boyfriend, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so could you go blue, Amelia?
Yes.
Thank you. I get that echo on here. Okay, so if you have a question or a comment that you'd like to make, please call 347-934-0026. And we're going to go ahead and move onward here. There's two movies that I'd like you to be aware of. They're older movies. They're not like 1960s or 70s, but one is called What Dreams May Come, and this one has Robin Williams in it. And the reason why I'm going to suggest that you watch this movie is from an astral traveling perception, they're quite accurate about what you can see with regards to experiences that can come to a person that has recently become deceased. I have traveled astral projected into areas of where dead people go, and I've met dead friends, in the astral, and they're all doing just fine. So the only people that don't really get to see the dead are those who aren't dead. Everybody else is dead. Of course, now death is not the end of anything. It's just a birth into everything. It's just we are behind the for very good reasons, we don't get to step into that realm too much until we become able to handle the level of information that is given, such more than your physical body. You are more than your physical body. Okay. And the Kundalini is also an aspect of that moreness of your physical body. So yeah, as you watch What Dreams May Come, you'll see. I'm not going to give any away, but they have some fairly accurate scenarios, at least that I was able to corroborate before I saw the movie. I'd experienced, some of the things that they're showing before the movie was ever even thought of. Okay, so that's one that I would strongly recommend that Kundalini people or people in a spiritual equation, living in a spiritual equation in their life would be interested in. Another one is called The Last Mimsy, and that is spelled Mimzey. The Last Mimsy, and this has some very, very interesting concepts with regards to the Sri Yantra. And a lot of Sri Yantras were used for that movie. Our dear Ed gave the ashram one of the paintings of a Sri Yantra artist who did all the Sri Yantras for The Last Mimsy painted, and so we have that hanging up in the White Room right now, and Rosemary's been using it for Tritaka. So, Ed, very much. And I would recommend that you watch The Last Mimsy, and it'll look like a kids program, and it is. It's clean enough to be a kids program, but the concepts that are discussed are fairly advanced with regards to metaphysics. And so I recommend The Last Mimsy for Kunalini to watch. If you have any questions about those movies, feel free to call in at 3-934-0006. I'm going to come over here to Rose and get her take on The Last Mimsy.
It's a wonderful little story. As Chrism was saying, the family could watch it. There is a child who is one of the major figures in which you can see what's going on when she doesn't have that natural objection that our adult mind projects and things. Very touching, all of it, and I'd recommend it as well.
Yeah. It's something you can watch again and again and get some, different qualities from it. So with regards to those two movies, this is not about scaring people silly. Hollywood so much is all about, let's just make things as horrible and gory as we can possibly make it. You have things like Saw or all these, evil infected movies, and just like, geez Louise, get over it. It's not all about evil. It is there's so much more love to go around in this world. It's just that the people that are practicing love just aren't so noisy about it as those who aren't practicing love. So with regards to that, it's very, very good to see at least two movies that you choose in order to give yourself kind of an entertainment-oriented education. Now, they don't go into the safeties, and they don't even mention Kundalini in either one, but that's okay. That's okay. These are good primer movies to give to, say, a spouse or a family member, a parent who doesn't understand altered states of existence or different states of expression. And so as they watch these movies, they can gently become informed about these areas. And so, I would definitely suggest that you watch those two movies. And there are other movies out there that I haven't seen, but that would probably be very good for Kundalini. Certainly the movie called Kundalini by Nitin Adsul, A-D-S-U-L. And you can purchase that movie at Amazon. And that movie is also a very, very good primer specifically about Kundalini. And that would be very good to educate a spouse with as well. He interviews people, some people that don't have it, some people that do have it. He gets into various interviews with regards to the Kundalini, and I wrote a good portion of that movie myself. So you can get it at Amazon. I think it's around $20, and I recommend that movie as well. With regards to recommending things, I'll recommend most of Gopi Krishna's work. I'll recommend Autobiography of a Yogi by Yogananda. I'll recommend any of the selected works of Vivekananda, Ramakrishna, and Ramani. He's got Maharshi. Especially Ramani Maharshi. Ramani Maharshi is very good. He's the one that really understood that all awakenings start at the heart, and they bounce down first. But the heart has that sacred space within it, and so once the heart is going, well, then the lower chakras will begin to form, and part of the heart chakra is that level of discipline, that level of practice, that level of prioritization that makes Kundalini matter to you. I mean, you can have such an amazing drive to get this, and you just wonder, where is this drive coming from? Well, it's coming from the heart. It's coming from the heart. And if you manage to listen to all these different conversations that have been put out there, your heart must be really in this too. Either that or, you've got insomnia. So anyway, yeah. I'm open to questions right now. I have 42 minutes and 50 seconds left, and if anybody has a question and they would like to call in, the number is 347-934-0026. As Amelia did mention, we're having those two seminars. You can rewind to the beginning to hear that. But you can also go to the YouTube network and you can punch in Chrism.Kundalini in the search engine, and that'll bring up the 290 videos or something like that. That is going on over there. You can also reach this at KundaliniAwakeningSystems1.com. Amelia, can you give some of the other blog information? Because I'm not sure I have that address memorized.
I can, of course, Chrism. That's the Ascension blog spot. So that's www.kundalini.com, and on the right-hand side of that page, you see a donate button. And if you wish to make a donation to Kundalini Awakening Systems and to support the work that does, it would be very welcome indeed. That is www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com. And Chrism, what about Interior Castle? Is that supported by St. Teresa? Would you recommend as a book to read?
Yeah. Interior Castles by Teresa of Avila would be an excellent book to read. So would any of the selected writings of St. Hildegard, St. John of the Cross, St. Francis of Assisi, St. Giles. All of these people had Kundalini awakening. St. Philip of Neri had Kundalini awakening. The guy could lift beds at a distance. Now, lifting a bed is useful. I think that would be a useful thing. But St. Philip of Neri had that. Padre Pio, any of these writings of Padre Pio as well. And so, there are plenty of books to go around. I like Genevieve Paulson as well. Her first book, Kundalini and the Chakras. Now, that is channeled information, but I think it was Kundalini channeled information, and it certainly was called on by my Kundalini for me to read that. An author by the name of T. Lobsang Rampa, so that's capital T period, T for Tuesday, so, and that was actually his first name, Tuesday Lobsang Rampa. And in Tibet, the first part of your name will be on the day that you were born. At that time, at least it was. I don't know if that still is being used. But T. Lobsang, Lobsang, Rampa, Rampa. So that's Rampa, Rampa. And you could read a book of his called You Forever. And that gives you some very interesting techniques and understandings about what you as a human being are capable of. Another series of books that I would recommend are, of course, the Huna books. And Huna, the Huna books, they're amazing. They're right out of the Egyptian mystery schools as well, just as some of the early forms of the Roman worship and the Greek worship and the early Christian worship as well.
So is that Max Freedom Long?
Yes, Max Freedom Long. Max Freedom, Freedom Long, Long. Max Freedom Long wrote most of these books in the early part of the last century, extending all the way up to the 1960s. In 1969, he wrote a book called What Jesus Taught in Secret. So for any of you who are interested in some of the hidden truths that Christ was teaching, well, you go ahead and read Max Freedom Long's book. And these books are dealing with Kundalini. They call it something different. They call it Amakua. And we get the AUM, not OMM, but the AUM. And, you can trace that right back to Amakua, which, of course, trace back to the Egyptian mystery schools, and from the Egyptian mystery schools, we can trace that back to the mystery schools of the Atlantean continent as well. So yeah, any of the Max Freedom Long books will help a Kundalini person. And some of the other books I've read, if you read Hafiz, Hafiz, Hafiz is Sufi. The Sufis are very knowledgeable about the Kundalini. Matter of fact, spinning to the right is one of the Sufi rites as well. And, it's well known in the Sufi understandings what that spinning to the right will do for a person. Not all, actually, most of the Sufis do not know about Kundalini. They call it the Lata'if. And so you have 5 Lata'if, and the Lata'if begin to channel the energy of the divine through the spine. So some sects of the Sufis do understand this. Most of them don't. Most of them will treat you like you're poison if you start to. So you want to be kind of careful about how you say what you say when you're talking to these different belief systems. Yeah. Yes, Amelia?
Hi. No, I wanted to ask a question, actually, but when you're finished speaking about books and things. Oh, yeah. It was really about the seminars. I'm just wondering if I was a listener and, I had a Kundalini was awakening or has awakened, and I was thinking, well, I have this truth within me now, so do I really need a seminar? What benefit would it be to me? I'm just wondering, would you speak about that?
Well, the benefit would be having
if you
Go ahead.
This is for an a person who has Kundalini awakening now. I'm speaking of.
I understand. So this is a person's coming to a seminar. They have pre-awakened Kundalini. The very first seminar I put on, which was in Marin County, all the people that came had awakened Kundalini, and they were in levels of kriyas. They were in various levels of psychosis. When you have Kundalini and you don't know what's occurring, or you're not quite clear on the concept, coming to an awakening seminar, well, first you do your research on the person that's giving the seminar. You find out, if they have any writings, then you're looking at the writings. And so if they have made it as far as the seminar, then already there has been a foundation for agreement to be had, a foundation for levels of understanding to be had. And so within that context, the person is coming to the seminar with intact Kundalini, and they're wanting to know how to make that process be easier and more powerful. Because most of the people that have the Kundalini come to them by themselves will not have really too much to do with ego control yet. And, they'll go to the seminar really to get pointers on how to live a life with the Kundalini. And yes, if they want more power, then if their Kundalini allows it, I will give them Shaktipat and boost the amplitude that they have, but their Kundalini has to allow it. And that's something that typically the person won't be in a level of being able to hear clearly the Kundalini speak to them. And even if they do, the people that are coming to these seminars, they're not just coming to hear some old teacher up there spout off about the Kundalini. They're there to meet other Kundalini people. They're there for community as well as learning. They're there for people who are working with the Kundalini in a positive way, in a love-based way, in a courageous and brave way, not in a fear-based, oh, you better be afraid of this, or oh, you got to protect yourself from that. Not going that way with it. And sure, there are things that a person can do that will allow them to protect themselves, say, from getting the person that has the Kundalini and they come to this seminar, they are getting a very strong leverage point from which they can take their Kundalini equation, expand it through levels of surrender, expand it through levels of practice, expand it through levels of the instruction that is given there at the seminar, expand it through the understanding that, yes, there are other people, there is communication. There are many different sort of references that people can come with to a Kundalini awakening seminar. Sometimes they want to be healed. They've got an and they've heard about the curative powers of the Kundalini, and so they'll have kind of a healing. And if their karma allows it, I will give that healing. Amelia, I think, would give that kind of healing. Rosemary would give that kind of healing, as would Eileen. There are many, many, many reasons why people come to these seminars, but for the most part, it's getting information and it's making contact with other people who are active or walking in that direction. There you have it.
Chrism. Thank you very much. And the other thing was, when you were there just a few minutes ago and you were speaking about the Huna and you used the word Aum and you Aumed for a minute, I was wondering, would you do some Auming, maybe just 3 or 6 Aums that we could sit and listen to?
All right.
Now?
I'll do 6 of them, but I don't know how they come over. The problem with doing the Auming, on BlogTalk is you just don't know whether it's being received the way you're giving it. And I've already had technology kind of go a little haywire with the alming, but we'll see what happens. Now, Amelia, if I drop off, you have to take over, okay?
Yes, well, it sounded really good here on my side when you did it. And if people just sit, and if you're just going to do 6 of them, even if it doesn't come across as a little time, I think it will.
All right, here we go. You'll need to go blue because I'll hear that echo.
Yeah.
Go blue, go blue. All right, there we are. Well, for those of you that are cringing, because Amelia has asked me to do this, and just plug your ears. It won't last long. Okay, Rosemary, you ready? All right, here we go. Well, that's enough. That's enough now. For some folks, the lower you go with the voice, like the Tibetans, the Tibetans will say, oh, the lower you go the voice, the better the aum is. I have found that you can even do this kind of an aum. Here, let me try this. So you can do higher octave aums with it. I have found that the Kundalini will begin to modulate through it. You'll get super high harmonics with it. On recorded machinery, the microphone will pick up the super high octaves. Huh?
I heard what that was happening.
Rosemary, well, go ahead. Say what you said.
I was noticing that was happening with Chrism, and it startled me. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's weird. They're like polyphonics. Mm-hmm. it's on the CD too. And if you do want a CD, you can contact Eileen at eloro55@yahoo.com. And also, I believe she's at www.kundaliniliving@gmail.com as well. So if you want a Kundalini movie or a Chrism CD, and I'm going to try to work with Rosemary to make another one, then contact Eileen Loro, and she'll be more than happy to get on the phone and have me send more to her. But yeah, Amelia, was that okay?
Thank you very, very much. That was really good. It was lovely. I could hear those vibrations, and it was wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And
now everybody has left the chat room.
Everybody left.
No, I'm joking. Yeah, I don't know how it sounded in the chat room, but no, people are still there. I'm joking. It sounded really good in my earphones anyway, and it was wonderful. It was. So thank you for doing that. I was curious to know how it would be. Thank you.
It's harder to hold a straight tone the lower the octave you go. The higher, for me at least, for the higher tone that I use, the last one was I can hold that tone straighter than if I'm going Now that would be the typical amount of time you want to hold that out too.
But there is that other sound, whether you're higher or lower, that is constantly present when you And Bruno says, very nice. And Tim says, thanks. Have to work on my sustain.
Tell Bruno. Tell Bruno it'll curl his hair.
Yeah, he could do with that.
No, his hair's sure. Well, thank you all for listening. Thank you for listening to the Ohms. And if you want to download that or record that, feel free. I'm giving you permission right now. Okay. Feel free to download that and to just put it on a loop. And if you want to hear those Ohms, you can use that in your practice or just to help you in your daily life. The Ohming, powerful. The Ohming is very much connected to your sixth chakra or your third eye, and you want to make sure when you're doing the AUM, the I see. Oh God, that does affect my iPad is starting to wig out a little bit here. So that's the last one I'm going to do. Oh no.
Oh. No, it hasn't, has it?
Oh, jeez. Let's just... Yeah, okay. So I won't be doing that. So the Auming. The AUM part is very good and very cool, but for the third eye activation, if this is what you're going for, extend the AUM and the part equally, and make them as long as you can. So if you're doing A U M. I don't want to do it because I don't want to screw this thing up. Make sure that you hum that last part, that part, and really try to bring your eyes up while you do it. If any of you are familiar with the safeties, you know that one of the safeties is an ocular mudra. An ocular mudra means a position of the eyes. And bring the eyes, so you just try to look at your eyebrows when you're doing this. So when you're doing the part, have your eyes up. Actually, have your eyes up during the whole thing. Have your eyes up during the whole thing, and this will greatly begin to work on your third eye, which if you contact me or we are able to have a private conversation, I'll give you some other techniques that will help bring it up if you're interested. We have 20 minutes left, and so I want to invite you to call in if you have a question or a comment about your Kundalini awakening experience. You can call 347-934-0026. 347-934-0026. So if you have a question, give us a call. With regards to the alming is really a great way to deflate a highly toxic emotional situation. If you can just kind of stop yourself in the middle of whatever, maybe it's an argument, maybe it's, passion is getting into expressing your anger, just go into the alm. Get into the alm. Don't do it to your iPad, though. My iPad still is doing kind of strange things with its ability to pick things up. And be advised that the Kundalini will have an effect on your technology. It will have an effect on your technology. I'm on my 5th or 6th laptop, if that gives you any kind of a clue. Because I don't like Windows, and I'm trying to find a Windows 7 to put on my laptop. I haven't been able to use it for my Kundalini work yet. But once I do, it may occur again. It has before. The Kundalini will begin to infiltrate into the systems, and it can turn on automatic functions. It can, you don't even have to touch the computer, and it'll start putting up pages. It'll start making, it's amazing. You just look at it and you go, where is it going? So I've had motherboards warp from use, but also the Kundalini. So just so you know, just kind of an FYI with that. And it doesn't look like we're going to get any phone calls, so I would like to say thank you to John and Amelia and family in the Kingdom of Kerry in Ireland. I would like to say thank you to Fashji and Eileen for calling in, and for Bruno and everybody who said hello. Thank you, everyone. It's great to meet with you here once a week on these Wednesdays. And I know that, like Bruno and people in the UK, it's very late over there, and I appreciate you staying up and listening to this broadcast. And feel free that if you have any questions about your personal process, how to actuate it more, how to bring things into maybe more of a balance for you, whatever it may be, feel free to write down that question on a piece of paper and then save it for this next Wednesday's broadcast. And from there, just give it to Amelia or myself, and it will be answered. We will give it, our full attention. So please feel free to do that. And I want to welcome everybody who's listening in the archives, our time travelers. This is Wednesday in late February, and so whenever you're listening to this, welcome to this information, and may this information grace you and bless you as you go forward into your Kundalini awakening experience. Thank you for listening.